Hello, I am Cassie Brown, and I am thrilled to welcome you to the Amplify My Impact podcast. After years of consulting and managing programs for some of the top entrepreneurs, CEOs, and marketers in the industry, I am on a mission to expand our contribution, to grow, scale, and create more so we can do and give more. This podcast celebrates entrepreneurs who are boldly stepping up to own their calling, expand their influence, and stretch outside their comfort zone, who've decided to stop playing it small, pick up the mantle of contribution, and serve at a higher level, to lead by example and light the way for others. If that's you, then get ready to amplify. There's a fire that burns inside your soul, and we're going to ignite it into a roaring blaze of unstoppable momentum. Hello, Cassie Brown here with Amplify My Impact, and today we're going to dive into why coaches fail. Or at least why I believe coaches fail. And I want to preface this by letting you know I'm going to come at this purely from a student perspective. It is what we used and the way that we mapped out the Amplify coaching program experience and the ideal environment and experience that we wanted to create for all of the entrepreneurs and businesses that we are working with. And so this is sort of like a top 5-6 bullet points that we're keeping top of mind in creating the coaching program, and that I thought was really important to share because for us, ideally, what we've realized is who we serve are not only just impact-driven entrepreneurs, but they're course creators and coaches in their own rights, whether they're agency owners or service providers who are also branching out of that one-to-one service to one-to-many. So these are definitely lessons that we're going to be incorporating in the program and taking a deeper dive into. But I thought that it was also going to be really, really important to share with everyone who's listening to the podcast, because it could be right where you're at in your business, or you're thinking of transitioning into a course creator or a coach, or having a program of your own, or you already do currently have a program of your own. So hopefully this serves you and just better, having the perspective to continue to scale and serve at a higher level. So let's get right into it. Number one, I think the biggest thing that we all struggle with is a disconnect from the learner experience. Like for us to go back to point zero, to where it was before we understood and knew everything, because we have the benefit of hindsight being 2020, and we can put things into a perspective where, oh gosh, I wish I'd have known this here and here and here. But we also forget the points in which we struggled to understand it, and the things and areas where we got stuck, and those small little nuances or the way someone explained it that made the light bulb go off for us. So we could be sitting at version 4.5.6.0, and we have to dial it back all the way to zero. So the more you're able to really step all the way back and go back to the beginning to meet them right where they're at, and not stay too far ahead of them with industry jargon or technobabble or terms that they may not understand or may just go completely over their head. Simplify in the beginning, give them quick wins, know that mindset and motivation is going to come into play here, and what our major goal is to get them over the finish line, to actually finish and implement the program. And a lot of that begins with being able to meet them right there at point zero and kind of give them an overview that you understand where they're at, explain some of the pain points, even help them understand where they might be bigger stress points or roadblocks that could come into play, and just kind of help them prepare for that. Let them know that it won't be easy. Let them know that you're there. They have the support and where to go for it. All right, number 2, actually creating overwhelm when trying to over deliver. This is actually something we have just experienced in our own program. Through the enrollment calls, we're realizing that there's certain sections of the program that, while to us on the outside looks incredible in a value stack and over delivering with extra bonuses, it actually was pushing some of our members into stress and overwhelm. And in realizing that and having these conversations, we were grateful for it because it allowed us to pivot and change the messaging and make sure that they knew this was not to put them into overwhelm. And we restructured the program. Like, it was an immediate recognition of what we did and how we explained something, and then corrected it right away. So just know that the simpler your program and processes can be to get them from that A to Z that they desire, the more valuable it is. And sometimes in the trainings or teachings that we've learned through and from as marketers, it can be really, really easy to create that irresistible offer or to create that value stack that you just can't say no to, when in all reality, sometimes we're including way too much. That is just intimidating for the people that we're really trying to serve. And if that's the case, that's not our intention. Our intention is not to intimidate. Our intention is to truly simplify and serve and help them get to the result as quickly as possible. Number 3, trying to automate or scale too quickly. And I'm going to go back to point number 2, where I shared through our enrollment conversations, we realized what was going on and we were able to pivot very, very quickly. And had we not taken the time to go through the beta to make sure that we're serving at a level and all of our systems are in place, and we're at the phase in this coaching program where we want to knock it out of the park. So everyone is getting extra attention, like incredible insight and detail on what they need, and follow up and follow through, like above and beyond what they have expected. And it's because we want to understand and poke holes in every area of this program and our systems and frameworks that we can before we get to automating and scaling, before we kind of dial back and start to bring on other coaches in the program, before we add more and more and more members and students into the process. So a lot of us, we have grand goals of multi-million-dollar companies and programs and businesses. And it's not a debate that the way to get there is through automation and scaling. But if you do it too quickly and you do it too in a way where you're depriving yourselves of having those conversations with the people who are experiencing your program and slowing down enough to understand their perspective, where things might be confusing, and giving you that valuable feedback, you could be doing yourself a disservice. Because if you scale too quickly and then all of a sudden you're putting 300 to 500 people through this program, where 1 or 2 conversations would have revealed something for you to fix, could have saved you a lot of time and stress, and also some disappointment from your members. All right, we are halfway through. Next up is not clearly defining expectations and what specifically success looks like for our students. And this is really, really important, as I said earlier, that failure and disappointment is typically the result of the gap between expectations and results. So what we want to do is we definitely want to have clearly defined expectations. And this comes in the form of communicating the schedule, how to navigate if there's a members area, is there a Facebook group or online community, when will certain calls be, what is the Zoom link, where to find recordings, just that simple logistics of how they can connect and attend live sessions or find recorded resources. Simply navigating a members area, a 2 to 3 minute tutorial video of how to find things and where they're at makes the world of difference. So that's just one area. Another area of defining these expectations is exactly what they can expect the course to cover, or the coaching program to cover. Coaching programs probably have a little bit more of a scope creep than a specific course, because a course could be on this particular topic really, really in detail. Whereas, in my opinion anyway, as a student, there are other things that float to the surface within a coaching program that could be associated with mindset and roadblocks that does creep into just regular health, family life, life in general, experiences that they may have had, or trauma as a child. Some of those things are going to creep into especially mindset, for sure. So be prepared for that, but also clearly define the expectations. Like, the results that you're going to get is to get you from point A to point B, right? So we want to make sure that we're not promising the world, and this is literally their get out of jail free card or their ticket to success just because they wrote a check or charged a credit card and entered your program. Like, you're not going to solve all of life's problems within this course or coaching program. So definitely create clear expectations and results, but it's also yours and their responsibility to define what success looks like for them. Find out exactly what they expect success to look like in their own words. And I'll emphasize this even more so because Jorge does this with me all of the time. What you say is one thing, but what they say is everything. So pay attention to how they define success, and then that's how you can set your bar and make sure that you're communicating your own expectations clearly. All right, on to the next one. And these last two, they're really, really important, not to take anything away from all of the ones that we're covering here. But this one here in particular will save a ton of stress. And that is not saying no enough. Especially if you are someone that has an application process to your course or program. Like, pre-qualifying the people that you work with will save you stress and just tons and tons of time and worry and regret. So I think the biggest thing is making sure not only they're a good fit, but they are ready for your program, that they will implement what you teach, and that they have the capacity to be an incredible case study. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want people to come in who will thrive and finish our course. We not only want to impact and change their lives, but it's not enough to just get the sale. We want them to implement, and we want them to have success. So we also want to pre-qualify and make sure this is a good fit and not be solely focused on the sale to reach a revenue goal. Relationships are a lot more important than revenue, and service is a heck of a lot more important than just a sale. And I cannot tell you how many relationships that I have saved or respect that has been created because whether in the coaching program or in the agency, I've been open, honest, and transparent enough to tell someone it may not be a good fit for them, or they're not ready for paid traffic. And that will change your business, because that level of respect, when they are ready, they will come back. Or if they know someone else to refer to you, they will share that story. And it's powerful. It's powerful. So don't be so focused on making the sale that you say yes to everyone. No is really, really important. And it also helps just set you and the program up for success. It's going to reduce your churn, reduce your refunds, and increase your success stories. So definitely worth it just to slow down and make sure that you're pre-qualifying members of the program the right way. All right, last but most certainly not least is creating a sense of dependency instead of building up confident, independent leaders. One of the biggest things that I have committed to in all of my programs, and Jorge and I have talked about this at length, is that leaders create leaders. And I've been in the room where you could just feel the energy of dependency and everyone just really like staking their claim on every word that comes out of someone's mouth, that they can't make a move, they can't make a decision, they cannot do anything unless someone specifically tells them exactly what to do. And that, to me, is not setting anyone up for success. It might feed and fuel our egos that someone thinks so much of us and our opinion that they wait for what we have to say, but it's not doing them any favors in the long run, because it's not teaching them to be confident and independent in their own decisions for their own business. Because ideally, we may be there, especially depending on the way your customer journey and ascension ladder is. We may be there to counsel and prepare them step by step through every growth phase, but what if we're not? And as a coach, I always look at it as my job to prepare them to make the decisions confidently if I'm not around. And if they can only do something because they've talked to me or been around me, then I haven't really done my job in developing them as a leader to set them up in the future to be able to coach and mentor someone else. And that is my ultimate goal, is to create and contribute to the ripple effect. And so if we're doing that in our courses and our programs, and we're making sure that there is that responsibility for them to implement and take ownership of the results, then we are setting them up for more than success of just the program that we've just delivered to them. We are setting them up for life to be able to do that in other areas that they're going to make decisions day in and day out every single day of their life. So that is it. That is what I wanted to share with you guys, and how we're incorporating certain things into our own coaching program, working with our clients, and we're just making sure we're 100% devoted to setting them up for success and everything that they create and their programs, setting their students up for success, because it truly is a ripple effect that we all contribute to. And if we commit to doing it the right way with integrity and impact, guiding us, then we all win. So thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I hope you've received value, encouragement, and exactly what you need to help keep you in momentum to grow and impact the world around you. Big or small, we all make a difference. Thanks also for subscribing, downloading, and leaving a review. This helps us reach others who need this message in their life. If you know anyone who would benefit from this podcast, please share, so you and I can help more people boldly step into purpose. It is my heart's mission to help and encourage others. My internal belief that a rising tide lifts all ships. So much of what we talk about on the podcast is leading with value and building relationships through service. So we've created a collection of resources for you to continue growing, whether you are just getting started or ready to scale your business. Visit amplifymyimpact.com for show notes, downloads, programs, and more information about how to directly work with our team to amplify your impact and change the world.